Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we have another GAC. We're doing pretty well overall. So far, we are currently 1 win and 1 loss for this week, and we're hoping to finish this out 2-1. If we do, that means we'll actually have already covered being more positive, being negative for this season. So that is pretty exciting. Although today's matchup is not going to really be easier than the last two, our opponent has a whole lot of really good stats on us. Overall, he does have a risk rating of 92, which means he's going to be very difficult. He actually has less relic levels than our other two opponents, coming in at 600 above us, but he still has all of his stats up there. He's more GAC Omicrons. He has his beaten plus 20s as well as plus 15s. We actually do have a slight advantage in the plus 25 area, and as always, he has Afra and Jabba, whereas we do not. So it's still going to be a very much an uphill battle, but I've been looking over the units, and as long as his crazy relics and datacrons don't completely destroy us, it looks like I actually have a counter for most things. So he's got Jabba, we'll throw our SLKR at that. He's got his Rogue One, we'll put our Bad Batch there. Actually, we could even use Bounty Hunters now. They don't finally found one that didn't have bays in it. Gas, we'll probably have to try a CLS. We've been failing with Inquisitors with too much stuff. And then this one's going to be tricky. IPD's offense might be too much for Jedi Master Luke, but maybe we'll be able to two-shot it with something, and then I think Grand Inquisitor will actually just wreck this JML team, and has done so in Arena for me, as long as the protection on this isn't just too catastrophically high, which it's not that bad. The defense is something, but we might be able to get past that through other mechanics. So overall, not looking too hard. So let's go ahead and see how we do. Starting here off with Old Faithful, or becoming Old Faithful, and that is our SLKR versus their Jabba. And I will say, we said this before, this isn't necessary to have the Hux Cron that came with this set, the very same one that Jabba came from, but when they had the Retribution level 6, it does make a difference, because we can just use all the AoEs in the world without having to worry about the entire team just clapping us back, just like we did there with Lobster. So, definitely have things in our favor here, and I never really got to form an opinion on this, because we don't have Jabba farmed yet. But at the same time, I think I really like Embo as 5th. Every time, and granted, I'm not using Inquisitors to beat Jabba, but every single time that I've gone up against Jabba with Gamguard just does nothing. And I guess he's probably more in the timeout area, but for what I'm using, he just feels very lackluster, whereas Embo has actually stopped this counter before for me in TW, although, yeah, the Omicron probably helped a little bit with that. So got that team down super easy. We even got decent banners because several people survived. And now we're going up against this really high defense Gas with our own CLS. I still really like this counter. I don't think it has taken that big of a hit with Datacrons, just because, as previously mentioned, the CLS team just does a lot of max health damage between exposes as well as Chewbacca's individual hits. Notice that we didn't use our cleanse right away there with our Nubaka, because I want to hold that, because I don't actually have him modded for tenacity, so he very commonly, wasn't here actually, but very commonly is dazed on that initial hit, so I like to leave the blind for that. And then, yeah, we get down everyone except Arc. Now we get to come in, kill Arc, and everything's really just fine. Like, we have all the abilities of Sun, and one thing that I do like in this team as well is the breach debuff that constantly goes out. It really does help slow the team down. So luckily, we don't have to fight one of those nasty Qui-Gon Jinn teams where, like, General Anakin's at 300 speed. So that gives us the luxury to use our Bad Batch against Adrad, and I won't lie, I miss using this counter. The whole Qui-Gon Jinn thing has been kind of a pain in the butt, because I've been having to split this up and use other teams. Granted, this one didn't have bays in it, so it probably wouldn't have been that big of a headache anyways, but nonetheless, Bad Batch just destroy it. Full without a Cron. Did wait a little bit to use the second stun. Didn't really matter though, because Adrad he gets pretty close to using his cleanse here. And he is really, really tanky. Luckily, the Bad Batch, whenever they get their defense up, they also ignore defense. So even with him doing all that, and debuffs are dealing max health damage too. You'll see here, we just almost never land one of our exposes, which is also supposed to be pretty decent damage, but finally get Adrad mostly down, and then the whole team just falls apart, and we win for max banner. So typical Bad Batch being Bad Batch. I'll take the 65 banners or whatever it is. So this battle is tricky. So all battles with Rey are tricky. And then you throw Ben Solo on top of that. You throw JTR in there, and then this is the IPD Cron. So we're gonna treat this. This is very delicate. You have to be very careful here. We're going to treat this like a normal Rey battle, or Reylo battle for the most part, in the sense that we're going to kill the two main sides. Be very careful, because if you accidentally kill IPD or you let him explode, then he gets to revive the entire enemy team. So if we do this poorly, he will revive Ray and Swole, and not only will he revive them, but they'll come back with 100% offense. So have to play this one really closely. Have to keep IPD stunned as well, or just ability blocked. Cannot kill him. So you'll notice here, different than when I typically play this battle, we're not using AoEs on Ray. Or really, we're not using AoEs period, because I do not want to get IPD below protection, because if we do, then he can self-destruct. You will notice also that Ben is dying a lot easier here. The reason why is because he loses a lot of his bonuses if the entire team isn't light side, which IPD is dark side, so that all kind of goes out the window. So what we're trying to do right now, and I believe the correct way to play this is, we're trying to kill Ray get Ray down, then immediately get Ben down. Now we can just go ahead and kill IPD, and don't do what I just did with the AoE. Do not do that. Make sure you kill Ben first, then IPD. If their placement order would have been different, we would have revived the whole Ray team, and the whole battle would have been over right there. So this is fun. We get to use our Imperial Troopers now versus this JML, and you'll notice we're like making no dents at all in the slightest on JML in the very beginning here. And the reason why is because the opponent has a 200% armor cron. So the only reason we're getting anywhere at all is because getting applied armor shred in the very beginning. And this is just so dicey, especially because Bears over there keeps gaining turn meter whenever we're critting. And of course, when we go to days are here, we land days on everyone but her. So this match is very, very tricky. The amount of, typically, I've done this in arena several times. Typically, this match is actually very easy. This is not a hard battle, but the defense is making it very challenging. So we get an open on Grandmaster Yoda. Luckily, we get the double assist with Dark, so we are able to kill him. Although we probably would have killed him on an AoE here, and that was just enough turn meter. I'm looking around like we don't really have that much. We don't really have that much turn meter going on here. I mean, Piet will go. But I don't think Dark's going to kill him on Piet's assist, and then they're going to start getting turns, and this whole thing is going to fall apart because they have a revive. They're going to cut our Emperor's traps. So we decide to go all in on the mass assist. Just barely get to go before them. Kill Jedi Master Luke, and again, just a very dicey match, but still works out in our favor. Now, I mean, we probably could have done this in a number of ways. We have 45 stacks of our Emperor's trap here, so we're just dealing a ton of damage, even with their 200% armor. So we make sure to get rid of Jolie so we don't get any revives. And now, I mean, even if they do get a turn, it's kind of whatever. Go all in on there and shock just to get rid of her. Probably should got rid of Barris first. I don't think by this point it actually matters. We have enough offense that she can't stop us. So get our nice 65 there with Imperial Troopers, which I guess a Galactic Legend, I'll take it. And now we're going to go ahead and use we're going to use a Galactic Legend on a non-Galactic Legend team. So we have C to spare right now, and I believe we have access to the back wall, and we have seen that there isn't a Galactic Legend back there. So I don't want to play around with this. I mean, R9 Malgus just literally stripped off all my protection in one hit. So I know you don't need to bring Watt for most Sith Empire battles, or rather C versus Sith Empire battles. But I think he was really helpful for this one. I really don't want to find out what it would have been like if they got to dogpile me without any protection recovery, being able to shake off ability block to be able to use the heal. That being said, we had all that, so we zapped everyone, and now we just have to play the very careful game of linking up Malik and someone else, and not... Pretty much what we need to do is not kill everyone else but Malik, because you can't actually time out against him. That's not fun. Even without Datacrons, he can just have enough tenacity to resist the shock, and then the dude just never dies. But we get to zap everyone another pretty easy 65. So now we have Wampa here. In this battle, this is interesting. Apparently, this just dies really quickly if they have Captain Han, who has a really nice Days on Basic combined with the Tenacity Down that is currently applied. However, Captain Han wasn't here, so we just kind of slaughtered them. Not a whole lot. We killed Nest super early. I'm not even sure if Nest would have used her AoE Days against one target. I think she does, but, I mean... kind of whatever. Oh, we do have to run into this fun thing where we get into a revive chain with Car. It is important to note we are not powering up, so to speak. We're not increasing our offense, and the reason we weren't doing that is because I don't want to kill Car in one hit, because if I keep killing her in one hit, she will just have potency up for all time. So then this is where things start to get interesting. So they have GI with the Kron and the Relic 8 on everyone. Pretty good team. And I shouldn't have taken Grievous with a combination of level 6 and level 9 he has, because what's going to happen here is with level 6, they were able to rip off all the buffs in the very beginning because of the purge being out. They ripped them all off, and they got instant access to daze and really torture my B2, which ends up becoming a massive problem because we can't keep the buffs on them. Because what is going to end up happening here is, even if we could have done better than this, they would just have constantly gotten damage immunity, and we wouldn't have been able to make any progress. So, unfortunately, yeah, damage immunity just ruins us here. Without B2 able to get turns, because he's tortured and that stops all bonus turn meter, we learned, we just can't make any headway. So shouldn't have even tried this. I didn't put all the pieces together with the level 6 and the level 9 at the same time. But we do go ahead and try Adrad now. Adrad can actually work a lot of the times. Again, this level 6, it adds 100% potency. The potency really doesn't matter, but constantly removing your opponent's buffs, that's a very big deal, especially when a lot of the counters to Grand Inquisitor are very buff heavy. I guess Trey would be the main exception there, but she's currently on defense holding things down for us. So go ahead and bring in our Adrad team here. And you can already tell the fact that they focused Adrad at all means we're in trouble, because how this is supposed to work is they're supposed to not focus Adrad. They can literally hit anyone else. Doesn't matter. Stay on Jin. She can't die as long as Adrad's there. And then you get your ultimate and you just slaughter him. So here we pretty much lost. There's a chance that we can revive Adrad with Jin, but it's not going to happen. So yeah, this is another failed attempt. This is really getting nasty. This Inquisitor team. I guess keeping Treya might be worth it, but I guess, spoiler alert for later on, Treya is our only team that holds. So we end up having to forfeit out of that, and we come in with our own Inquisitorius. I'm really running out of ideas here, so I'm like, all right, let's just try the mirror. I figured, someone actually playing it would be better, but at the same time, they have a relic advantage over us. I didn't really compare Datacrons too much to see how much difference there was, but the battle goes pretty consistently back and forth here between our two teams. But they just kind of have the upper hand, having the 1 extra, I guess 5 extra relic levels if you want to count them all. But yeah, we try to make our way on Night Sister. Really struggle, and both teams have the Revive Kron on level 3. So it's not just get her down and be done with it. She comes back, as you can very clearly see there. I was trying to ration things out so that we would try to just get a bunch of bonus turns with GI, especially with that double hit there, but yeah, it is just very difficult to get this going. We get kind of close here. We actually get very close there. But unfortunately, their Grand Inquisitor gets the 6 stacks, and then he gets to heal everyone, or rather equalize everyone, and really just kind of flushes the whole thing down the toilet for us. Because now they just get to run on their time around, and they're going to, spoiler alert, they're going to kill our Night Sister before we can kill theirs. And that is pretty much game. Because once the tank goes down, there's really not a lot you can do. And we had no way around it, so she's dead. And then I think they killed my 7th and 1 or 2 hits here. So at this point, yeah, it's just best to back out. So finally, we're going to go in with our Bounty Hunter team. And I forgot one of the mechanics in here is that we cleanse when we get Contract. Because what I was worried about is when 7th took her turn there, she was going to rip all the buffs off of everyone, because she has a 20% chance to get in that turn meter. I forgot about the cleanse. So the cleanse really saved us, because the issue with removing buffs is if Mando doesn't have crit chance up or crit damage up, you don't get the Annihilate. So none of that happened. Obviously, we were able to get the Annihilate on GI. So now even if we lose this battle, which honestly, the Inquisitors are still doing quite a bit of work, not having GI there, not only does it take away the lead, but that takes away the level 9 Datacron. So definitely have a much better chance here at this now. That being said, I need to get, I know they've been a project for a very long time, but I need to get my Bounty Hunters to higher relics. Grief is R3, Mando is R1. It really handicaps me because I can't take in any Datacron of any type. So as you can see, we're pretty much just going to get slaughtered here. I think I just put this on auto at some point. There's really, without Mando there to annihilate 9th and be able to get to the softer targets, there's really not much we can do. So just pressed it on auto because I need this battle to count, because otherwise if it doesn't, then we have to deal with Grand Inquisitor all over again. So they got through us. We took the 1 banner and called it good. We do still have to beat a Hondo team, which isn't. It's actually pretty hard. And one of the other really pain in the butt things about this team is with Bam there, they just have a lot of damage immunity, which is really one of Jedi Anakin's larger weaknesses, because he has a very small window where he's just going to be dealing an absurd amount of damage. And if everyone has damage immunity for that window, then our goose is just cooked here. So they're not going after Qui-Gon Jinn hardcore here, which is pretty nice. That elongates the battle so that we can actually start to do some damage. Like you guys have seen, we already killed Queel without having to do any major damage. We're trying to avoid the AoE right now because I don't know. They can kill Qui-Gon Jinn at any moment, and if they do, I need to have that AoE off cooldown. So again, this is really annoying. They get damage immunity on pretty much everyone, and I don't love that. So just keep basicing here. We do go ahead and flip stances with Ki-Adi-Mundi just so that he can kind of take some more hits. And we get to use our big hit. Unfortunately, Bam has damage immunity, so he gets to do not fun things. We do kill Jango, which is the lead, kill Bam shortly after, but now the battle went on too long, essentially, and Hondo is just going to start doing really stupid amounts of damage. And honestly, even if he wasn't doing the stupid amount of damage, we were never going to make contact past this point, so I think how hard is he hitting here? He's hitting very, very hard. Yeah, the Jedi Anakin doing like no damage. Yeah, like 700,000 or something like that. Huge hit. So we used this once before to clear Hondo and it works. So we're just going to keep doing that. And that's pretty much using Night Sisters to stun lock Hondo while we also put captive on him, which makes him even easier to control. We have Tenacity down. We have 2 forms of stun. We have Plague that prevents cleansing, although I don't think he has a way to really do that, at least not while he's completely stunned. And then, yeah, we just tear him apart between Plague and the exposed damage from our own Hondo. He just kind of goes down. For anyone wondering, my Hondo is like gear 11, so this isn't... We would need the Night Sister, the full Night Sister team here to make this work. So we got our 41 there, very nice. And now we have to... This is a little awkward, and I think we could have played things a little bit better, but we have to use gas against this team. And this is honestly is not that fun of a fight. Huck's lead, combined with the Datacron they have here, actually has a lot of tools to be able to take out gas. Huck stops both turn meter as well as counters. The 501st team loves both of those things, so it's kind of an uphill battle in that regard, but we do get quite a few turns and we're able to stop them. I go right for the TIE Pilot because without him, they lose all the bonuses that he brings, so they don't get the 100% speed or whatever when they keep getting advantage back. They do make a sit, which that pretty much means it's almost a guarantee we're getting Bad Banner. Should not have formed up there. That was dumb. We couldn't get turn meter, and they don't really do any debuffs anyways. And that here doesn't really matter. I mean, they're not gonna get through us now. So we end up getting the win, but for 58 banners, so that could have been better. Taking our Jedi Revan against Sword, I've been really impressed by how OG like Jedi Revan teams do. I mean, like this isn't anything very extensive. It's your pretty standard, Bastila for the buffs, Jedi Knight Revan. We're gonna have Jolie in here. We do make sure to go ahead and target their T3 in the very beginning. Wait to spread around the buffs until we actually have all the good ones from Bastila. So we're dealing significant amount of damage now. Unfortunately, R2 is going to make our day a lot harder here. He's going to stealth everyone. Don't really enjoy that. And then we get stuck behind BB-8. This isn't really the end of the world. While the Sword team is pretty good, they just don't really have enough oomph to get through really between Old Ben and Barriss healing. Barriss is gear 12, by the way, but she's kind of doing her thing, so that's pretty fun. I want access to one of the weaker droids because BB-8 is super annoying with this constant countering. So we do try to take him down, but yeah, Barriss isn't... Normally, Barriss doesn't do a lot of damage. Gear 12, Barriss does even less. So we finally get BB-8 out, and now this is just going to go a lot quicker. So, still want access to T3. A little bum we can't get to him. Luckily, the team itself is very buff-heavy, so we get to keep stealing all their offense and defense up. Get to finally go after their T3, get him out of there, and just be done with him. HK actually does pose a small threat on this team, just because he recovers health and protection whenever there's a buff. Jedi Revan is a very buff-heavy team, at least this comp is, so being able to take it down is going to be a little bit harder. Luckily, we have 2 forms, actually, of buff immunity here, so it makes Sortie a lot easier to deal with. Otherwise, she can just have a lot of survivability. So she does go down. Again, buff immunity preventing the protection up, so that Grandmaster Yoda can get in there and just get some really big hits back-to-back. And then the problem child there is going to be HK, who, like we said, is just going to gain back so much stuff. It's going to require a few well-timed hits from Grandmaster Yoda in a row to be able to stop him, and we get that. So overall, pretty good. We do now need to clean up the rest of the Inquisitor team. I'm almost curious. Probably wouldn't have worked, but I'm a little curious if this would have almost worked if we used it first. Granted, again, my IG here is gear 12, so I don't know. I feel like if he would have landed, they would have landed Torture on him, he would probably just died immediately. But getting to deflect, the amount of debuffs we get to on these guys, and then bam, just getting to completely annihilate someone here in a second, it's just very good. I mean, we get 2 kills on that hit alone. So very, very proud of Bam and how he does here. Overall, very good. I will say we cut ships out of this one. The reason why was the ships were uneventful. Well, that's not the reason why. The reason why was I wanted to watch the Super Bowl and I didn't want to do the rest on stream. So we did that, but they were uneventful. It was just Profundity versus Executor, and I believe our whatchamacallit, our Empire versus Negotiator. So we did take the loss here, and not by a huge margin. I think, what is this, only what, 50 banners, something like that. So we might have had a shot had we not just completely really struggled against his Inquisitors. It's really hard to say though. He might have tried to play a tighter game had we done that. He did, like I said, lose to our Treya team once. I believe that was the only hold we really got, and we're still, man, I want this so badly. I've been getting teased with it almost every single match. We're almost within range of Arnold. Like, every single match that we've won or lost, he's been right there with us. He's still too far off to actually get matched up with him. But I feel like if we both keep winning and losing at the same rate, it could eventually happen. We'll have to be different battles because the points are weighted differently, but still. So, very excited for that. We'll see where it goes. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, stay awesome.